to the Making Up the Numbers podcast. The Making Up the Numbers podcast is sponsored by Hope Technology, J-Tech Suspension, Revolution Bike Park, Ride Southern Spain, Schwal, and the world's finest independent mountain bike magazine, Singletrack.
The original plan was for the next episode of the pod to drop in May. Then, in early March, Jack messaged me to say he'd been talking to five-time world champion and two-time World Cup champion Loic Bruni out in Tarouka, and he was keen to come on the show. But we just couldn't fit it in before Lords. So that means I've been sat on this script for the best part of 2 months, excited to chat to the man who you could argue, and we probably will at some point, is dominating World Cup downhill at the moment. So without further ado, let's get into it. Loic Bruni, welcome to the Making Up the Numbers podcast. How you doing?
Yo, guys, thanks for having me. I'm doing good. I'm happy to finally be able to make the show with you guys.
Excellent. And where in the world are you right now?
So right now I'm in Andorra doing some solid prep for Fort William. And yeah, I love this place.
Excellent. You're a resident there now, aren't you?
Yeah, man. It's been actually Bernard poked me hey, taxing runs, whatever. Yeah, man. I will never hide it from trying to make the most of it, So
yeah.
fully assume that and loving it right now. People are nice and there's some other good riders here, so it's good to hang out with them, like Greg. So sick.
Excellent. So before each episode of the pod, I post in a few WhatsApp groups asking if anyone's got any questions for the guest. You get some good questions, you get some random shit, but the first question in every group that I posted in this time was identical. And I was just curious to see if it's the same thing you get asked all the time. So any ideas what the first thing everyone wants to know about Loic Bruni is?
Is that maybe what my bike is hiding?
Yes. Yeah. What were you adjusting on your fork mid-run in the bike in Loser?
Yeah, that was super sick, actually. I'm so happy we made that happen with Jack, and he probably got me to win the last round.
Yeah.
And we can't, I cannot talk about it. I wish and I would love to share what we're doing because it's pretty incredible and really amazing with audience, but
yeah,
time will come. Be patient.
Be patient. So if that's all you came for, listeners, there's your answer. You've just got to be patient.
Yeah.
We got it out of the way quick. You can go about your day now. I jest. Let's start by chatting about your dad, Jean-Pierre Bruni. I saw he took another world title at Masters Worlds a few weeks ago in Argentina. How many does he have now?
So the man has 10 now. He's been on the roll. It's good, yeah. Actually, this time was a bit different because he's getting older, obviously.
Yeah.
And last November, he had a surgery to replace his hip, prosthesis. Then he was taking a long time to walk again, to just do things, and he was a bit pissed off, the classic behavior you have when you cannot do your thing. And for Christmas, I got him a training plan with a good friend that's close from Nice, and he's been training hard in order to be ready for Argentina. So he went there with big preparation, full of motivation, got the win. He loved it. When I had him on the phone, he was so stoked. So it was cool to see, and I'm proud he's still up there,
Yeah. Is he the inspiration? Is that, did he get you into downhill?
Yeah, for sure. In my early days, he was the main inspiration, and then it got followed by Barrel, then Blanky, all those guys, and now, even though he's not as fast as he used to be, he's still a big inspiration because I would love to be like him, and I think he's rad. I'm proud to call him my dad.
100%. So in my first ever mountain bike race, and I think it was in 1989, which is probably before any of you guys were even born. Is that right? Who's the oldest out you got? Emmy, are you older than Jack?
Yeah, I was one.
I am, yeah.
Well, this mountain bike race, it was called the Boltby Bash, and obviously back then it was XC, and I set off and I got a flat, maybe halfway around. So I had to run with the bike, and there was no tubeless, there was no plugs. I don't even think we had quick release wheels. Anyway, about 500 yards from the end, my dad caught me, and as he rode past, I thought, he might stop and ride with me or something. But as he rode past, he just shouted, "When does 879 come before 352 in the finish results at the Boltby Bash?" and just kept going. And I was just curious to know, do you have that same kind of relationship with your dad? When you think you're the man, does he remind you just how many world titles behind you are?
Yeah, for sure. He's super, like, we're pretty close together, and he's young in his head, so we always have these small competitions between the two of us, and it can be for anything, and even when we play pétanque, which is a French sport, we just like joke so much about each other being really bad at it, and just like all the time moto, he's been a really good moto guy, and when he sees videos of me, he's just taking the shit out of me, like, But that's what I like, I've been educated this way, and second degree is kind of my thing, and I really like it. So, yeah, it's so sick, and I feel like that's what makes us like sometimes like push a little bit more. Like for sure, he wants to. When he was in Argentina, he wanted to make me happy, to surprise me, and be fast, so he could be like, "Yeah, you see what I'm doing, man." I'm happy if I can help him,
Cool. So what happened? You mentioned his hit before. Was that bothering him in Pro Loop? Because he wasn't on the podium, which is rare. He seeded second, then finished fifth, if I remember, 7 seconds back.
I don't think that was the problem. I feel like my dad just genetically gave me his inconsistency. It's been pretty crazy when he rides his bike, so he can end up on the floor a lot of times. And I think that time he didn't ride well, and he went off track, so he didn't made it to the podium. But his hip was actually killing him the last few months before the operation. So even though he's pretty young to do that, he was so stoked to do it, and now he's back for more.
Yeah, excellent.
So, Loic, you've grown up around DH. You mentioned Fabio Barel a minute ago. Who was the big hero for you in the sport growing up?
Barel for sure was a massive hero. He was, when I was starting to get into racing and stuff, he was winning Léger 204, Livigno 205. He was the man to beat, and I was just looking at him like one of my biggest idol. And then just after that, it was Blanky, because I just loved his mindset and his riding style. So he became more the guy I wanted to be like, and I feel like in the end, I'm a bit of a mix of both, So it's pretty funny.
Nice. Was it always on the cards for you to be a DH racer, or when you were younger, did you have other ambitions?
Nah, I feel like it was always not meant to be, but I never really got as much commitment in any other things I was doing. I did a lot of other sports because my mom and dad wanted me to try like judo, athleticism, I don't know, like running, all those stuff. Like I didn't really like it, and I would just watch videos of downhill and didn't like to pedal so much or suffer, so I didn't like cross country. And I would just, downhill was the only thing that made me super into something, and I was really passionate about motocross, but my dad never wanted to buy me one, so I stuck to mountain bike downhill.
Okay, for sure. So we seem to remember you did an internship at 100% a little while ago. Are you still interested in kind of other life roles? Do you want to do something else at some stage, or is that not something you even think about at the moment?
Well, at the moment, I don't know. It's hard to say because I was pretty young. I was still at school doing studies, and it was mandatory to do an internship, So I was like, okay, fuck it. Where can I go? Then I asked around, and then Hervé, from 100% was like, yeah, we'll come over to San Diego. We take you, and then you can ride, you can do your thing, and we can try to teach you some stuff. So
okay,
I did that, and then I went to the season. So it was 2016, and then after the season, I also went to specialize for the other part of my internship for school. And I just like that year, I just had the best year of my life. Even though I had an injury in the summer, making me miss some World Cups. I was just traveling around, meeting new people, riding a lot, and then I had 1 year left of school. And then after the internship at Specialized, I was like, "Fuck it, I'm never going back to school. This is the shit. I want to take that opportunity and make the most of it." And I feel like I'm still doing it, so I don't want to think so much of what's coming after. But when I was younger, I really wanted to prepare the after career or the plan B if something goes wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in business and in some little things for sure, but I know how lucky we are to do what we do right now, and I want to enjoy it more for the moment.
Yeah, I think it's really important for certainly younger riders to hear what you've said there, and the fact that you were one of, well, if not the leading junior rider on the world circuit, and you were still considering what's the plan B, get my education. I think it's really important for those younger guys to hear someone like you say that, because so many now have the dream of when they're 15 years old, I want to be the next pro rider, and not everybody see that. So that's cool to hear.
I feel like that's what also got me improving through the years pretty quick without having so much pressure, because I had a lot of other things in life and I didn't put all my hopes into my mountain bike career. Yeah. And in the end, I would never, even though I didn't have as much time as I wished to ride and to train and to travel, I just wouldn't change it. And I think it made me who I am. And I think it's so important that kids have other things in life. And it's scary because the sport's getting younger, and a lot of kids starts to go and do school at home and don't have a normal kids like childhood pretty much, or teenager years. And I don't know if it's good. Like maybe it's cool, but it's so nice to do these years as a normal kid, and it's so, I don't know, important. So yeah, sure. For me to stay like this.
Yeah, so like going back to the racing side, in 2011 you were in first year junior, and they didn't have a junior category back then, but your results were pretty amazing and you improved quickly. You took your first top 15 with the 14th in Wyndham, so that's pretty amazing. So how did that feel for you?
Yeah, that was sick. Back in the day we had no junior category. It was like, okay, if swim or die, and it was like pretty cool and hard at the same time. And when I got top 15 in Wyndham, I was just over the moon, because I was not supposed to do the World Cups overseas at first, and I was just supposed to stay in Europe. And then my results were okay, so the team was like, okay, you want to come to Canada and USA? And that was the best trip of my life. I had so much fun with the boys, Blanky, Cam Cole. Like, it was like so much fun at the hotel doing like videos. It was so funny, and I just enjoyed everything. And riding was just easy, I feel like the boys were just showing me lines, and we just had super good energy. And in finals I rode well, and I was so surprised. I was like, what the fuck, I'm 14th. I remember sitting next to Cedric Gracia on the hot seat, and it was so nice to be next to these guys. I was like, wow, enjoy, Loic. This is like the best holidays of your life. So I was saying it like this. It was not like, oh fuck, I'm going to race in the US, it's gonna be crazy. I was just enjoying everything. And yeah, it was super. It was not a turn in my junior years, but it was super cool to see that I could be in the top 20. And I was like pretty young. It was maybe my 4th World Cup. So I was like, damn, this is cool. I would like to do a bit more and maybe be in the top 10 next time, And I didn't. Like the last races, I was not as good, but it was still a pretty cool first good result.
Yeah. And the year after, in 2012, so you won your first world champ title as a junior in Leogang. 3 seconds in front of Richie Rude. That's pretty impressive considering the track. So has like world champs always been like that one race for you since the beginning?
Not really. Like, I feel like French people really put a lot of importance on this race, and I do. But I was just like, for me, it was a massive goal. But actually, the warm up before the race, my mechanic Jack wasn't there for family problems and stuff, so I had another mechanic. And I don't know what happened. Maybe cleaning the bike or whatever. He put a lot of silicone on the brakes, and I had no brake. It was so bad. Like warming up, like 10 minutes before my start, I was like, "Fuck, my brakes are terrible. What's happening?" And he was like, "No worries, it's okay. It's gonna come when it warms up." And it never did, you know. So I was like, I was riding like super weird. I had to adapt and brake so early, but in the end, it was not bad because I don't know, paid off. But yeah, I really had my eyes on this title because the year before I crashed in Champery. You know, I was not riding well, and I felt like I had a revenge to take. And I rode well, and Richie was pretty strong there, and I beat him, and made it to my first world title. So it was pretty crazy for me because I come from far. You know, I felt like it was a big achievement, and I was super happy.
Yeah, and from there, then you had like a really steady ascent through the ranks. You were like a lot of podiums, but actually no race wins.
Yeah.
Like 2015, you finished second 4 times. How hard was that to deal with mentally?
Yeah, it was terrible. I was like, what the fuck? It's so hard. I was able to, like you said, to improve and to be in the top 5. But to go and find the way to make it to the first step, I was struggling. I was like, it's impossible. And even on the days I was doing crazy runs and I was super happy, there was always like Gwyn or like Rat Boy, you know, like, and I feel like I'm a little bit, like there's so many good guys, and I feel like my bad, I was not good enough, but I was a bit unlucky with the generation because it was the peak of Rat Boy, really good years of Gwyn, you know, like those guys were super hard to beat, and I don't think I had what it took. So it was just not meant to be, and actually the 2015 season was great for me. I was second overall. It was my best season so far. But people were just like, next race, you're going to get it. Next race. And I remember being so mad at people saying this to me. I was like, come on, no, it's not next race. And it never happened. I was like, okay, maybe I will never win, but that's okay. I'm still young, blah, blah, blah. So I try to keep it cool, you know, but for sure I was boiling inside.
Do you think that experience about that season is one of the reason why now you mentally so strong and solid?
I don't know.
Because I feel like when I see you race that you like mentally you bit crazy, like crazy strong.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I remember being in 14, especially 2014. So the season before that consistent second place season in 15. I remember being super up and down and had so many races, and I almost won Leogang. Remember? I don't know if you remember, and I crashed in the last turn.
Oh, for sure. I remember. For sure.
And I was just like, and then I realized I had to work with someone because I was not able to control my emotions, and I was always getting a little bit distracted at some point, and I was missing something. And then in 15, I found that guy that helped me bring back some of the bases and try to be in the zone more often. And then I was way more consistent, but at the same time, I was not able to do like crazy runs, let's say, like really like not out of the box, but like something a bit exceptional. So I was just riding, I was consistent, but not really good. So I was just learning to know myself. And in the thing that made me, I think, realize that was the world champs after that season, just, you know, in Van Noord in Andorra, where I pretty much gave up before the week even started. I was like, okay, I've had my season. I'm happy. I'm not going to try to win this race. This is just bonuses. And the last day, something clicked in my head, and I was like, you have to try harder to win. You have to, this is like I could see I had many chances to win, and I never did it. Like I have many chances to win. I mean, I had plenty of races already under my belt, but I was never able to win. And I was like, maybe you're not trying hard enough until the end. You know, I was always fast in practice and not really able to step it up through the days. And then that day I stepped it up big time. And Gwyn, which was really hard to beat, crashed, and I won. So I was like, wow, okay, what the fuck? So I felt like I understood that to win, you had to add some fire and to do things different on the last day.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's my.
So that race in Andorra, you won worlds before you won your first World Cup.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. And then 2016, you took that first World Cup in Cairns, and then had a crash in training, breaking your collarbone, bad smash, multiple breaks, collarbone concussion, and it took you out for the majority of this season. Is that the worst injury you've had?
No, it's not. I don't feel like it was so bad. You know, they just put a plate, and I was just. Loris was taking care of me that summer. I was trying to find me a girlfriend, so we enjoyed. You know, but I did find me a girlfriend actually for the wake up. But no, it was just cruel in my head that I struggled so hard because even the first race this year was Lourdes, and I crashed also in the last section of the track.
I remember.
I was up at the split, and I was like, why am I not good enough, you know? And then finally, I don't know what happened in Cairns, I made it, and I won. And then 2 weeks after, I go ride with my friend. Actually, Loris's dad was in front of me, and I just like get wind or something. I don't know what happened exactly, and crash and miss the next 3 or 4 rounds. And I was like, no, I finally touched what was possible to do, and I have to do all over and relearn and stuff. So I was pretty devastated, especially that it was the first year was specialized. I wanted to prove them that I could be good, blah, blah, blah. So it was, for sure, it was a big setback mentally, but it was not my biggest injury, I would say.
So 2017, elite world champion again in Cairns, famously knocking Mick Hanna into second. Did any part of you feel bad about beating Mick there?
For sure, man. What do you think? This guy is a massive legend, and he was on his home race, pulled down the run he needed to, and there's a French guy, annoying, comes out for 3/10 of a second, just beats him. I was like, I actually told him, like, dude, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so happy, but sorry. And I could see he had tears in his eyes because he was happy, but he was so close, you know, from the biggest thing he could have done. And then I was like, sorry, dude, like, I'm so sorry. But that's what makes it feel even better in my position, because Mick was super ready for it. He delivered and he made it super hard on us. And I was a little bit better. So I was super, super proud of coming back and winning again.
Yeah,
you know, the world champs, and I was over the moon. And we went Australia. I just love to travel, I think.
Cool. So 2018 elite world champion again in Lenzerheide. On the last episode, we talked a bit about Loris needing to win a title, either the World Cup overall or world champs, and when he does that, it could really open the floodgates. Do you feel like that having those titles in the bag relieves the pressure a bit and therefore frees you up? Like, if you're sat in the start gate and you don't perform at a world champs, no, you've still got 5. You know, it's not like...
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the history, like, you guys have Steve Pitt.
Yeah.
He had a black cat on his back for so many years, and it was getting worse and worse and worse. And I don't know how he pulled that run in Canberra and made it happen, but I think it's super. The more it goes, the hardest it gets. And you can probably ask Gwyn how bad it is, because he's been dominating, winning so many World Cups. And every time we showed up at World Champs, he had problems or a crash. So for sure, as in my position, I feel privileged because I've had it. So if I gain or I win another one, it's super sick, and I would love to make it happen again. but I had it before, so it's okay if I don't.
Yeah.
And for sure, Loris is, for me, the best rider at the moment. Like, no doubt about it. He's fast, like his speed is insane. But something needs to happen to change his status into the man. Right now, he's like the bullet, and he can beat everybody on any day. But something needs to happen, and I feel like it's super close.
Yeah.
And I hope he finds it. I hope, and I don't hope, because if he finds it, it's bad for us.
So 2019 Andorra, probably the race we talk about most on this podcast, because Loris did one of those runs where the time just looked unbeatable. I remember standing down the bottom and saying to, I think it was Matt Simmons, that, well, that's it. That's the winner. Apparently you heard what he'd done over the PA before you dropped in, and then your first split came up on the board and you were 3 seconds up and everybody just gasped. I remember it. Talk us through that run. How did you approach it? And did hearing Loris's time at the top change your plan of attack?
Yeah, it was funny because we were with Troy qualified second for a super small margin, and I was first, and then we were both at the top, and we both heard the time, and we both didn't want to hear the time, and we're like, oh shit, fast dude. So we're like, okay, well, good luck, blah, blah, blah. And then he dropped, and I was like, damn, Loris really like went fast. I had to do something, and then I started the run like insanely hyped, and I was like, what? That pedaling. I had a massive moment close to those bridges where I almost pinned it over the bars.
Yeah.
But I rode like incredible. I was scared of the way, the speed. It was pretty scary. But I blown all my physical capacities, because up there it's altitude, it's pretty flat, you have a lot of things to do on the bike, a lot of work, and I reached the second part of the track without anything left in the tank, and I feel like my strategy was okay, because in the end I won, but in the end I was just hanging on, like trying to make it to the bottom, but I was like, honestly, my eyes will cross and stuff. I was like, oof, and my arm was so painful. And when I saw the race afterwards, I was like, whoa, that was so close, because those 3 seconds I had in this small amount of time were insanely advantageous for me. Like I had a comfortable lead, and I lost everything to the bottom. So it was really like 2 different approaches, and I feel like I was just trying really hard without thinking so much, and I got lucky that because it paid off. But it's super important to have a strategy in your runs, because a run like Andorra, especially, is super long. It's like 4 minutes and 10 seconds, I think. You need to know where you can push and where you have to rest and where you have to pedal, blah, blah. And I didn't do that. I was just like riding with my heart, and I'm happy it worked. But it was super close, and I don't know how I pulled out 3 seconds, to be honest. I was like, whoa, me too. I was so happy. I was like, yeah, boy. But yeah.
Well, it was certainly good entertainment, that's for sure. So 2019 world champion again in Mont-Saint-Anne, then the season finale in Snowshoe.
Oh,
I mean, drama, I don't think it can ever be beaten. Did you think you'd lost it when Danny was halfway down that track?
Yeah, for sure. Like, Danny was so annoying before he went green, and I was like, okay, it's happening. Danny is just gonna get second or third, and I'm gonna lose the overall. This is it, And I went to Amaury, and I was like, yo, dude, fuck, that was such a cool season. I'm pissed off, but congrats for Ryan. And when by the time I said that, the second to last split comes up, and then he's green. And I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, I didn't say anything, Amaury. Like, I take back what I say. And yeah, Danny, I was just looking at him like, come on, dude. Either crash, either just go the hardest you can. And I didn't know what happened in my body. I was mortified, And then he crossed the line, and I just saw green, and I was so happy. it's been super hard for me to win a World Cup title overall. And I could see it slipping away just so easily, and it didn't. So I was so relieved and so happy because Amaury made it really hard on the last part of the season, and I thought I lost it, So drama was epic that day. It was insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. So moving on a little bit further, you finished 2020 winning the final World Cup in Loser. Obviously, only a 5-race season with the 4 World Cups and World Champs, but that win really did seem to mean a lot to you. After the big gap with COVID, were you just super keen to get a win behind you again?
Yeah, like I don't know for you guys how was COVID, but I don't know. For me, it was kind of weird. Like I felt like it was a second part of life almost, after.
Yeah.
And I was not able to find myself again. I didn't care so much, I was like, we don't have really a season. It's gonna be shit. It's gonna be in fucking winter at the races. It's gonna be muddy. Like I was not really like if I was living in Australia, to be honest, like Conor Firon or whatever, I would have been like, okay, I stay home. See you Monday, man. But I started to train to prepare, and I was like, okay, Loic, this is not really easy, but you have to. Sometimes training is easy when you're really fired up and stuff, and that wasn't the case. And then I remember I broke a rib in Leogang, and I broke my finger on a small local races, and I was just struggling. And then I showed up to Leogang World Champs, and nothing really went my way. Like I didn't ride so well, and I had a mechanical in my finals, and it was snowing at the top. I was like, what the fuck are we doing here, man? and it seemed like I was, losing before it even started. And then Maribor, just a week after, same scenario, like super wet, mega hard to ride. And I crashed the first race. Like I was not good that season. And then suddenly my mechanics, like my group around me were like, Loic, can you please do something about it? Like, if you want to go home, just go home. But we're here to do better than that. I was like, okay, we have 3 races left. Let's try to make it happen. And then I got second for like nothing to Loris and Maribor. And I was like, fuck, that stinks, And in the end, I just wanted to win really bad again. And then Greg actually won the next one. So I was like, like all those guys winning, it makes me mad. And I just wanted to win the last one so bad. And then, how the qualifying run of the last round doesn't have points. So no one cares so much. And I cared a lot. So I just won the qualifying. I was like, yeah, that's so happy. And I remember Greg being like, did you know you had no points in that run? Yeah, no, I don't give a shit. I won. And then in the final road, and I didn't let anything happen to me because it was a little bit wet. It was a bit sketchy, and I just rode everything as hard as I could. And the pedal at the bottom, I just fucking lost my quad. They were burning and stuff. So I really wanted it, and it happened. So I was super proud that we turned a little bit the season around. And for sure, we wanted to win, and that's what we work for and stuff. And sometimes I tend to not give up, but when the conditions are not super nice, I tend to be like, it's okay, we'll have a good time. And in the end, I just need my people to remind me we can win, and we should.
I love the fact that they had a word with you and basically just told you to get your shit together.
Yeah, big time. They could see like I was not so into it, and I'm pretty bad at hiding my emotions and my moods. So they're like, Loic, wake up.
Okay, cool. Let's take a quick break there. We'll be back with more after these messages.
All right. In 2021, so last season, you started the season with a 10th in Leogang. And then obviously we had that weather situation in Leger when you finished 50th. So actually 2 races into a 6-race series, you're like pretty far back in the overall. And and you also had a broken heel, so it was not the best situation. Did you still think the overall might be possible at that time?
No, for sure. After Leger, I didn't think at all about the overall anymore. I started to shift my focus to world champs, for sure. Like, nothing went the way I wanted it to go, and the last 2 months of preparation before Leogang were bad. Broke my heel. I was riding a bit, not so good, and I did my best performance, and I was super happy with my performance in Leogang, and I was 10th, and that's not the way you win an overall. So did a lot of work to be ready for Leger. Won qualifying, so I was super happy to be back to where I wanted to. And then the rain came, so I was like, really? Oh, fuck off. And then I was like, okay, it's okay. Sometimes it's not meant to be. I'm gonna try to be ready for world champs, and I feel like I was, but it didn't go as planned too.
Yeah, and you had also like that crash in Val di Sole where you got like bucked twice at the in the first forest. I guess you're pretty lucky to be walking away from that one.
Yeah, for sure. That one was wild, and I had literally nothing from it. Like not even a little pain in my nail, So,
yeah.
So coming into the final 2 rounds of snowshoe, can you remember where you were in the overall?
I think I was third, but far.
Yes. So George has got some numbers for me. Thibaut was first, 752 points. Loris was second, 566. You were 298 points. So basically, you were 300 points back in third on 454. Second at the first race, and then you make a public declaration that you're going to win seeding, be last man down the hill, and you'll win the race. I mean, you got to have some big balls to do that. Was there a bit of a strategy behind that? Did you genuinely believe that's what was going to happen? Was there any mind games going on there? Talk us through that.
No, cool. It's super hard to guess what the future holds for us, especially when you at the last races and it's rocky and everything can happen. But I remember being super gutted to lose to Reese Wilson for like 200th of a second. I was like, come on, who's testing me up there? Like something. And then I could feel like Thibaut and Loris were not liking the track so much. And I remember being at the podium with Loris, and Thibaut I didn't see Thibaut. It was hidden from my vision, And I was telling Loris, wow, Thibaut is cracking so hard at the moment because he crashed in qualifying and finals. And he was just behind, and he heard me. And I was like, oh. No, sorry, dude, but it's true, man. What's happening to you? I was like, I'm so sorry I said that like this, but you should stay on your bike you have to win this thing, blah, blah. And Loris was, I don't know. And I was like, okay, I didn't win for a small margin. I want to win the last one, and I want to put pressure on everybody. And I put pressure on myself too, because I was like, okay, announcing that I wanted to win qualifying. And things, I don't know, for once, things went as planned. Like I pushed hard in qualies, no points again, but I didn't really give a fuck. I won qualies with a good margin. So people were like, oh shit, Bruni is fast, blah, blah, blah. Thibaut actually got injured in qualifying, so he crashed again. And fully went out of contention, even though if Loris and I blew it, he could still win. So he had such a big margin that it was still possible. And I don't know, I could feel like Loris was not, it was not that he wasn't hungry, but he was a little bit, we will see, I don't know, I don't want to think about it. And I was like, dude, I want to think about it. Like, let's go, let's try, like, why not give everything and go get Thibaut's? And then I don't know, I didn't know what Loris did when I was in the start gate, but I just felt the energy from the crowd and from the situation, the context, everything was making me like having goosebumps. And I was like, oh, this is it, this is something I can remember for the rest of my life, you know. So I enjoyed the seconds before the start. I remember giving a sign to the crowd and being like, for a few moments in my life, being pretty confident and pushed from top to bottom. Did a little mistake in the last rocks, but pretty much had a clean and fast run. And when I crossed the line, I didn't know what Loris did, and I wanted to win. That was the only thing. I wanted to win that race, but I didn't think so much about the overall because Loris was in such a better position. And then I crossed the line. Everybody is like, yeah, like, okay, I think I won. Look at Laurent. Finn is running to me. I'm like, what's happening? And then they're like, oh, you won the overall. And then I just collapsed. Like everything is insane feeling. And what a moment I will never forget. And that was also pretty like drama, but sick.
I think afterwards you said something like, I can only go to that place a couple of times a season.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you watch Stranger Things? Do you know Stranger Things?
Yeah, I watched it.
Right.
Why?
So I have this vision of it being like Stranger Things. You know, 11, when she does all those crazy things and then she controls things and then she has like the nosebleed or whatever afterwards. It drains her of like all her strength. Does it feel like that when you've been to that place?
Yeah, but it's my butthole that's bleeding. It's not my nose. No, for sure. It does feel like it's something super, super hard to do. And I don't have this feeling many times in the season. It's a state that you can feel once or twice, to be honest, in the season.
So, mind games, it's kind of clear that you've got Loris's number. How do you still remain friends? And do you ever feel like a bit mean, like he's your best mate?
Yeah.
Do you ever don't think, I just want him to win one?
I don't feel mean because he's been beating me for super small margins too, and I'm pretty fair play, and I'm like, okay, I'm happy for you, blah blah. So we're pretty fair to each other, and I feel like through the years we learned how to manage the friendship, even though it's hard because there's such a big rivalry, you know, like that people around us built, and also our career I've built. So it's been hard. Like at the point when he left to Syndicate, it was bad. Like we were not so good friends because I didn't know he would leave the team. He told everybody but me, and I was just like, fuck, why not? And then it was yeah, and he didn't really want to be like good friends or whatever. So I was like, okay, we need some time. And then in the end, we had a massive talk. I remember over a cool cocktail in Nice, and yeah, we just said, okay, why did you say that? Because we had a lot of prejudgments in our head about each other, and then everything from there started to be way more like before. And even though we still had this rivalry, we knew how to segment it into off the bike and on the bike. So we respected a little bit each other's space at the races more, and then also off the bike we were just talking about other things, doing moto, like not training so much together. And so far we're in a really good spot, and I love this guy and I want him to succeed, and I don't want to play mind games to him, you know. I don't want to play mind games in general, but because I think it's sneaky. But yeah, it's I don't know why he's not winning a world champ. Like last year he could have won big time. I don't know what happened in the last section, but I don't know. It's hard, and I don't want to speak for him, you know, like you asked.
Yeah.
Obviously now the level of the guys, well, the girls as well, but like the level of the World Cup is insane. That there's a lot of people that can win, probably more than ever. So at that very top level, what do you think? How much of it is like a head game, a mental game?
Well, I think it's all in the head, to be honest. Like it can be for men and girls, like they're all riding super well, and I feel like there's probably more guys that can win than girls at the moment, even though in girls the level has been so much better than the last decade. I don't know. I feel like right now the racing is so sick.
Yeah.
but it's all in the head. Like, to be honest, like, and I know Emilie, you're close to Camille, and I feel like she's so good at this. I don't know if she gets it from other sports or just her approach, but she's just confident and just, like, doesn't really talk so much about it, but she just boom, and it makes it happen. And I feel like it's super impressive to see, because she doesn't have much experience. She's like, what, fourth, fifth season, not even.
Yeah.
So it's pretty impressive. And in the men's category, it's the same. Like, there is 10 to 20 guys that are super high speed, and they can all pretend to win, but there's only really 4 or 5 that can actually do it. And I feel like it's just because in the head they're able to switch on something at a certain point that allows them to battle for the win. Some other guys are still amazing and go super fast, but they are like 1 or 2 seconds off, and that's enough to not be in the mix.
Yeah, I feel like this with Bernard a little bit. Sometimes I'm like, man, like, you're riding so fast, and then in the race run, like, sometimes I see you in practice or whatever, and then I'm like, oh yeah, he's riding well, but like, other people are running well, and then suddenly in the last day, like you said, suddenly, like, I'm like, wow, like, this is crazy. And yeah, so I think you're right. I think you can, this is like the switch that.
Yeah, and I feel like it's sad because guys like Bernard, they have the talent to win, I think, but they have pretensions on other things and to do in mountain bike, and he wants to run the team, he wants to do YouTube, he wants to do a lot of things, and these little things he does, and he's not the only one, takes time and take focus away, and that's the little things that we save and we can do the difference on. And I feel like, I'm not saying if Bernard wasn't doing all of that and he would just train hard, blah, 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 he would win, but I'm pretty sure it will happen, because I know how hard it is to film, how hard it is to edit, to go somewhere, to do all the stuff, and then sometimes email sponsors. And I know Bernard's doing a lot of that. And I think with Gwyn, we have this example too. It's not the solution to win. Gwyn is the best of all of us. And with his career decisions, I feel like he put too much on his plate and is not focused enough to go fast anymore, So it's hard to judge, and that's why you need good surroundings. You need to have your head on your shoulders, and you need to know what you want. And that's like Amaury. Look at Amaury. He's been cranking since the last 3-4 years because he changed something in his life. And even though you have this fun side of him on Instagram and stuff, he's training like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
He's the strongest, for example, I think.
Yeah. So the next question is probably a bit related to that. Is there anyone you fear? Like, if you came into a title run and you're neck and neck with someone like Greg or like Amaury.
Yeah, it's hard to say one name, but for sure Amaury is that guy that on his day is pretty impossible to beat him. So Amaury is one of the biggest competitor I think I have. And now guys like Finn, they're there, they are starting to understand. They looked enough and they made the mistakes, and now they don't make the mistakes. Loris, like all those guys, they are insanely hard to beat too. So it will be a pretty big free fight with all of us.
Yeah. So we have some like a little comparison of you and Greg. So Greg Minard, called as the GOAT, had 4 world champion title, 3 times World Cup champion, and 23 World Cup wins. And you got a 5 world champion titles, so 1 more, and 2 World Cup champions and 7 World Cup wins. So when you look at the field now, it feels like you're the only rider who could potentially like surpass him, because it would be hard. But I mean, let's say you win the overall this season and you take 3 wins, and Greg behaves like a 40-year-old he is and maybe doesn't win any races anymore. So you will be on the level on the overall, but behind on the race wins, obviously. I mean, it's pretty hard to compare, but what do you think? How many races win is like a world champs win worth, for example?
Well, I don't know, because the world champ title I have that Greg doesn't have is junior, so it's not even that crazy, you know. But
Oh yeah,
if you
true.
win, if you win one World Cup, I think 2 World Cups equal a world champ win.
All right. Yeah, that's
Because
pretty fair.
it's also super hard to win a World Cup. You know, it's not like if it's easy.
Yeah.
It's just the world champ has a little extra thing, so I feel like it will be like twice as hard, let's say. And I don't really try to match Greg or Nico on records. I don't feel like that's what drives me right now, but I'm super far on the World Cup wins. I'm like so far. You know? So I feel like
Yeah, but
if
if you race until you're 40, it's fine. So you're 27 now.
Yeah.
Do you think you will still be racing at 40?
No.
I'm not
No.
gonna disagree with you because I already stopped. So
Yeah, I don't know how Greg does it, to be honest. Like I love it right now, but I can feel the weight of it sometimes. And I know when I'll be 34 or something, I'll be over it. Like I know it's a deep down feeling. And also maybe I want to do other things, you know. And Greg is just insane. Is incredible. But yeah, I think I suck a little bit too much on winning races to catch Greg. I've been taking so long to win my first race, and I win maybe 1 per year if it's a good year. You know, I'm not like cranking rounds after rounds like Loris or Quinn can
maybe
do.
you're gonna do Rachel.
Ah.
Maybe you're gonna win 16 in a row. You never know. Then you'll catch him.
If it takes that to catch him,
it can be done. It takes
could be
16.
done. It could be, but it won't be done.
Yeah, so like we said, you're a 5-time world champion and you just smoked everyone to win your 2nd overall. How do you talked about Greg being 40 and like you're not getting younger as well. How do you find it? Is it hard to motivate yourself like in the off season, or what you going about that?
Well, first point, none of us is getting younger, to be clear. We're all getting
What do you think? What do you mean?
like every day we're all getting older, you know. So that's something that makes me feel better about getting older. We're all doing it. But yeah, I can feel that the preparations and the winters are different than they used to be because there's more things to deal with, like sponsors, issues, solicitations. I don't know if you can say that, but requests from things around. And I don't like all that, to be honest. I don't like to deal with sponsors, and I like to deal with my friends, you know. So in 100%, Fox, like even Red Bull, I have some people I'm really close to, so that's okay. But other things, I feel like it's so energy taking and focus. Like when I ride sometimes last year, when I had my problems before the season, I knew it came from that because I had some sponsors issues and I was like, couldn't take it off my head. And motivation for me is different now. I feel like I'm not young, like you say. I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm just trying to be the best version of myself. And I'm just trying to be better than the year before all the time. And I'm just my own main rival, to be honest. And yeah, I want to develop things. I want to do things like this and be a little bit more involved with why I'm going fast. You know, I understand a bit more the reasons. And I'm training hard, like, to be honest. Sometimes I don't have the motivation, but I still, inside of me, I'm like, you have to do this. Like, and that's the motivation that keeps me going, is that all the other boys, they are training so hard and I want to be better than them. So I have to train just as hard or more. And and I like them all, like they're all my mates, but it annoys me so much when they beat me. I don't know why.
Okay, we need to take another quick break there. We'll be back with 2022 chat after these messages.
So 2022 then, You kicked things off in Portugal at Tarouca at the Portugal Cup. You were a bit back. Actually, one of the only times in my career where I'll sit in front of you on a result sheet. So cheers, mate. How hard were you trying? Because you seemed to be a little concerned that you were off the pace after the race.
Yeah, no, I tried hard. I was going there to kick off the season, even though we didn't have the normal setup and stuff. I was eager to do well. And the more it goes, the more I understand that I'm not fit for these races, because I go there and I start to enjoy it, have some fun, and I lose a little bit the goal. The main goal is to win, let's say, or do well. And I'm more caught into talking to people because it's the first race of the season, catching up, blah, 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 blah. And in the end, I'm like, oh, shit, it's qualifying. Okay, I go. And then I get smoked. So I'm like, oh, no, what's happening? And then I try harder. And then this time I got even more smoked. So I didn't really understand until the week after, where I tried to, analyze why and stuff. And I could just realized that I was not approaching the race as I usually do, and I just wanted to ride for fun pretty much. And in the last moment, I wanted to go fast, but I was not prepared for it. I didn't build anything for it, and I was just like few seconds too far, but enough to get beaten by a lot of guys, including you, dude. So
just
I was
200th of a second.
For sure. I was like, oh no, the season kicks off in 1 month and I'm not ready. So it was a good wake-up call. And the last little weeks before the race, the first race, I was like more focused and more pro than Tarouca.
Yeah, and you're not the first person to I've spoke about that too. And I think George Rees has talked about that maybe on this podcast, that there are riders that are World Cup riders and riders that are national or regional level riders, and you see it a lot where the professional World Cup riders go to a national race and you can just see they're just not operating on the level that they normally operate at for some of the reasons you've just talked about. And I think there's an important message there for a lot of young riders coming through, that when they're at the regional races and the national races that they're taking seriously, just larking around with your mates the whole time in practice isn't necessarily the way to go about it if you want to, perform well. Do a bit of that, but essentially if you're not concentrating on your lines and practicing going fast, then as Loic's just said, you'll get to qualifying and go, shit, hang on, how do I actually do a fast run here? So there's a message in there somewhere.
I don't Has Laurie Laurie Greenland? He's the other one who
hates him.
Has he had a podium at a national here?
He's just left Fort William. I'm sat in the car park. We've been here. I've been running a coaching camp here for 2 days, and Laurie's been here. And I don't think he's racing. I'm not sure, but
no.
I mean, I might be wrong with that. There's some people that are here and left, and some people that haven't. But yeah, Laurie's another one he was at Riola a couple of weeks ago. He did practice and then didn't race. So, and you can see why.
It's just we're racing to such a fine level that if you're not there, you're gonna get smoked. That's not fun, and it's not worth trying to get stuff. So, yeah,
for sure.
And if he's good, especially for William, it's so difficult.
Absolutely. Okay, so Lords 2015, you were second. 2016, you qualified first, only to crash, and you were well into the green. 2017, you seeded second, and then you were one of the riders, obviously, who got affected by the rain in your race run. How much did you want it this time around?
I wanted it so bad. I was like racing the first round in France, in Lourdes, where I was never able to make it happen. I was like, okay, Loic, this is another opportunity you've been given. Try to seize it. And it was so hard. Remember, the practice runs, we had such a few amount of runs because of the lack of efficiency of the shuttle, let's say. So it was a tricky weekend to get started, let's say. But I felt super good in qualifying and won the run. So I was like, okay, the speed is there. You can do it. So you still need a lot of things to put together before the final run to make it happen, but it's a good sign, you know. And I could just feel the crowd. I wanted, you know, there was no other way. I had almost to do it, and I didn't do it.
We got Jack.
And then you
Oh, I think we're losing you there,
sorry,
Jack.
George.
Say
Have you lost me?
Yeah, come try again.
I'll try again. Cut me off if it doesn't work. So you finished third behind Amaury, and your team Finn was second in an epic race. You were 0.6 up at the second split, then you got booked going over a rock slab. How close were you to having a crash there?
Yeah, actually, I talked to Gonzalo, you know, the Portuguese guy, before my race, and he crashed there. And I don't know if that influenced me or not, but I went a little bit too much to the right and almost did the same as him, like went over the bars. And I could feel like it was close, but I didn't get scared. I don't know if you know what I mean. Like I was still on my bike, both feet clipped in. Like it was just a little bump on the road, but that was not the main problem. I was just not riding the way I wanted, and it was one of the mistakes I did. But I was just battling a little bit.
Yeah, okay. I think you said afterwards that your bike was set up way too fast and you felt like you were just hanging on. How often do you change the settings before a final run? Or is that not something that you guys do?
Actually, we always change before the finals because the track evolves a lot, and we only have 2 runs before we go for the finals. And there's always little things you try at the last 2 runs, and then you have a tendency, let's say like a trend, to follow in your head. Like, okay, this is the way it's gonna be, so let's try to match that trend. And with my mechanic, we know each other really well, and we always tweak it, the last little things, to be sure the bike reacts well when we go race pace. And yeah, it's just that time I didn't judge well enough the last little things we needed to do before the race, and we have new stuff on the bike, like on the suspensions, and we didn't have enough experience. And yeah, I made a mistake, and my mechanic didn't, like, he trusted me, and then obviously it was a little bit of a wrong one, but in the end I saved the day was still pretty good, you know, pretty solid, the third and stuff, so it was not a catastrophe. But I could feel like straight up the first rocks I was not riding the way I had to go and get the win, so I was pretty sad. And I think my time is super close to my qualifying time, which is a sign that I didn't ride the way. So yeah, I was pretty sad.
So I messaged Benoit afterwards because he had a pretty wild ride as well, and I think he did the same adjustment because he said he felt that the track was attacking him rather than him attacking the track.
Yeah,
just set the bike up a bit too fast.
I don't know what Benoit did on his commensal, because he was riding pretty well, but you could see actually on his especially last part of the run, that he was loose, like super loose. So I don't know if he had the same mistake as me or not in the settings, but the track was gnarly and the track was not faster. The track was actually getting slower and slower, I feel. So for some reason, normally it's not the case, but that time it was the case. And it was really hard to anticipate what the track will send to your hands and feet, pretty much. And that, plus the bike being a little bit, for me, it was just way too hard. I was just not able to use the track and to carry the speed and to play with the ground. And I was a little bit a passenger, and at the bottom I was just fighting so hard to hang on because my arms were blowing up, and I almost lost my hand from the almond bar and the whoops, you know. So I was just the problem was I was not focused on going fast. I was focused on making it down. And yeah, it's like I said, you know, like those little things sometimes pay off. Sometimes other guys are doing it better than you. And when I crossed the line, I could see Amaury Joy explosion. I was so like the contrast was so bad, and I was just like feeling the loss, the failure, you know. So it was tough.
So is Amaury the man to beat this season?
Yeah, obviously he proved us already that he's been training hard and he's back to his level. But I know Finn and Loris are also the men to beat. So I was pretty impressed and proud of Finn because he held it together all weekend long. He was really fast, and now it hit a really good step. But now the hard part is to keep going. So we'll see how it. But I'm sure it'll be fine. And yeah, the first competitor is always yourself. And for me, it started for William because I have a bad record there, and I want to turn it around.
Yeah, so you talked about Finn, who got a second, and he already won the little race, the qualifying race in Brioude, and then did well also there. So I guess it might be the season where he's gonna win his first World Cup. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Like it's been hard for him because everybody expected him straight away out of juniors, and it was promised to a win, and it's been 4 years and no win. So I feel like it's like the world champ story of some guys. You know, it's not coming, and it's taking even longer than me. But he starts to realize that he has to stop listening to the media and what people think, and focus more on himself. And I feel like he's a super smart kid, and he seems to have understood some stuff this winter. And when he races, he's just way more efficient and less mistakes, and you know, is really good. So I think he's gonna win. For sure he's gonna win. I don't know when, but I think this year it will be closer than ever. And last year in snowshoe, he was also fourth, one qualifying, and it was like he's good. You know, he was coming close to it. So I think we're finally gonna see a Canadian win again.
Yeah. So how hard is it, do you think, to be Loic Bruni's teammate?
I don't know. Like, to be honest, I'm pretty annoying. I know I'm selfish, and sometimes I like to keep things secret because Jacko and I we work a lot together, and we like to not give information like what's under that black box. You know, it's like the way it's kind of a mind game too. Like we just like, yeah, fuck off. At the same time, I'm trying to help some people around me, and I feel like I need to like people to want to help. And then I like Finn, and I've been I think helpful to him, and I've been, when moments were not so good, I was trying to give him some options, some solutions. But at the same time, I don't want him to beat me. So he wanted to have the same coach as me, and I said no, for example, like things like this. But I think I'm good in the way that you can, like Finn does, like look at what I'm doing and learn from that. But I'm also pretty bad because I'm a bit ruthless. So
Yeah.
I'm doing my thing, and I'm not waiting for you to go for a practice run. Like if you're ready, we go. If you're not, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And that's the way Blanky was, and that's the way I just learned how to be. And Blanky was probably my favorite teammate ever, and I hope Finn likes me as teammate. But I don't know. Loris didn't like me so much because he left. So,
but do you think it makes it harder, like for the other riders on the team, to have you?
No, I don't think so. Because in the past, I was always the one standing for evolutions, like being the annoying guy to the brands who wanted different things, blah, 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 different colors, different, and then that would serve the other guys too. And even though maybe sometimes it was, they didn't care, they didn't want an evolution or something, they had the choice because I break the balls to specialize the audience. And I feel like that's a good thing. But I'm also like pretty solitary, so I don't hang out so much at the races. Like when the race is over, it's rare that I go at the party. I just rather stay with my team and just go have dinner and maybe some beers and ciao. Like, so sometimes I don't know. I feel like I'm not the most fun teammate to have, but at least I am who I am. So I'm not trying to be anyone.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You should ask these guys.
If we get Finn on the pod, I'll ask him.
Yeah, for sure.
So a few months back on the pod, I asked, are we in a period of Loic Bruni domination? I've mentioned it already tonight. And I included that in my season preview that I wrote for Singletrack. And you commented, can anyone dominate these days? But you've won nearly 50% of the possible titles since 2015. Ooh. Why doesn't it feel like you're dominating? Do you think it's because you're not winning by 9 seconds, for example, like Aaron did?
No, I don't agree that I'm dominating because first, I think factually I have titles, but I just know when to get the titles. Like, I don't really know, but it just happened to be like this. Yeah. But if you take the seasons, like Amaury is able to go faster than me, Loris is able to go faster than me. Like, a lot of guys have been beating me, and I feel like I haven't been dominating anything because even though I won some of the last races, some of the last titles, I have nothing more than the other guys. And we are all fighting all the time, super hard. Like, and if I have a little moment of exceptional feeling, I can win. But this happens once or twice a year, like I said. And this, if you can win once or twice a year, you're not dominating anything,
Yeah. So,
and I feel like no one's dominating, to be honest. And I'm happy about that because it's super exciting and it makes all of us have a fair shot at winning every weekend, which is super cool. And yeah, if I was dominating, I would be way closer to the 23 victories of World Cup rounds and stuff like this. And I feel like, yeah, it's like you see the numbers, they are not there. So
the really weird thing was when we had Dean on the show, we were chatting about like if all the French riders lay down their best run just on the hill, not under race pressure. We both picked Amaury first, Loris second, Thibaut third, you fourth.
Okay.
And yet, that was both of us thought that. But then this is Loic Bruni, the same Loic Bruni, whose last round of the season last year tells everyone he's going to, win seeding and then win the race. Do you think it's just that pressure thing? Do you think that under those conditions you perform better than everybody else?
Yeah, I think you're right, to be honest. Like, if I had to take like just randomly, like out of context guys, I would not be the fastest.
Yeah.
Because I like to go fast, but I don't naturally do it,
Yeah.
And for sure, when the context is here and the pressure is here, I push myself.
Yeah.
But I'm not someone that does it naturally every day. It's like it's something I can not do every day. And I know the raw speed of Amaury. Like, we all have different styles. Of course, it's pretty obvious when you see us ride, but the speed of Amaury and Loris is higher. And when I ride with them sometimes for fun, even on an enduro bike, I'm like, why are you going so fast, dude? Like, are you on the road? And yeah, the races we're able to hold each other in seconds or even less. But it's just, for me, I'm someone pretty chill. I like to be flowy and stuff, but to go fast is not my first priority when I ride, except when I feel like it's the moment to do it. And you're fully right. I agree with you.
So the rest of this season, Jack's been up in Fort William all week and he's still there now for the National this weekend. Loris is there, I believe. It's like a mini World Cup. Were you tempted?
Yeah, for sure. When you start to hear who's going and fuck, maybe I should go. But in the end, I've always been not liking the fact that some people get pre-practice. You know, it's
Yeah.
in my head. It's okay. They can do it. They're doing it. It's their job. It's their right. Good. They should do it. I maybe should do it too. But I don't like that idea so much. And I've done it in the past. Like sometimes, for example, I've been to, I don't know. I've been to the BDS before, for example.
Yeah, you have, I know.
Yeah. And I just don't like the fact that we get more runs and we get to ride less at the racing, get a bit more fresh. The bike's already set up. And I should go because I can. You know, it's a possible thing. But I just don't want to support that so much. You know,
I get it.
If it was imagine I'm ruling the UCI World Cup.
Yeah.
All the World Cup tracks are closed all the time except for race. And then no one gets to practice it, not even the locals, and that's it. It's like Formula One. You know, everybody's like, even in the industry, people are, yeah, we are the Formula One of the mountain biking, blah blah blah. Okay, then if you are Formula One, you don't go pre-ride and test like 2 weeks before everybody and stuff like this, you know.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion. But the other ones can go, they go, and hopefully the people like us who didn't go can do well too, you know.
Yeah.
But last
100%.
year actually, like they had 2 races before the World Cup, and I was so choked. I was like, guys, don't go, please. It's bad. Like, and why UCI allows to race before, like race after, if you want to do IXS or whatever, after, it's better. No. And then the guys were so fast. So I remember being on the first one, I was like, oh shit, it's going to be hard. And I could see my level getting better and better every day.
Yeah.
But I was running out of days of racing and I was just not fast enough. And I told myself, okay, this is not ethical in my opinion. So I will start to do it too because no one gives a shit. If you read the papers, that's what matters. And then I don't do it. So I'm such a motherfucker.
Are you back, Jack? Are you there? He's logged in, but I don't think we can hear him. I'll carry on. So it's the World Cup is just a couple of weeks away. You've been racing up here you've been racing in Fort William since 2011.
Sorry, I am here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate. Do you want to do this one?
Yeah, I will do. Yeah, I got back in and then it auto mutes me and I didn't realise. So I've been listening away and I was ready, but you couldn't hear me. All right. So like the World Cup, a couple of weeks away. You've been racing up at Fort William since 2011 and you've only podiumed once at the World Cup, 5th in 2018. I know we haven't been there since 2019, but you've had much better results elsewhere. So you've mentioned a little bit about that at Fort William. Do you actually enjoy coming here?
Thanks for the reminder that I suck there.
Yeah, I put that so nicely, didn't I?
It sounded like you just have said you suck there, you know.
As I was reading it, I was like, whoa, blow, another blow, and again. For the record, George wrote that.
Yeah, I wrote it. I was trying to be as delicate as I possibly could be.
That's just the hard truth.
You're a big guy, you can take it.
Yeah, I can take it. No, for sure, I enjoyed to go there, but not as much as other places, to be honest. Like, there's something about Fort William that makes it super hard on the riders, and I haven't been able to figure out the way to go fast on the race run, and I've had bad luck there. You know, I've had crashes, I've had mechanicals. I've never been super good, so this winter I've set in myself a goal to do well there and to. Maybe I would not win, but at least I will do well, you know?
Yeah.
And Fort William is that, we talked about it with George, Fort William is that only place where it's different, so much different than every other places. So it's just like super hard to figure out. There's always the wind that comes into play. There's always physical side. There's always like so many things that can happen. And guys like Binard, Amaury, they've been so good there. And me, obviously not. So I actually asked Greg, like, how are you so good for William? And he said, and I think that's where it starts. He said that he loves to go there because he loves the riding. It reminds him a little bit of the first races he did when he came over from South Africa, and he just have this special relationship with the place. So I feel like I need to develop that a little bit and be stoked to go there, because in my junior years, even now, when we go to Mont Saint-Anne, when we take the plane and we go on trips, I love it.
Yeah.
And for Williams so far has been not the case.
Yeah.
So I need to. Where we got the 4 Williams. So
Funny. So, which race are you most excited for this season? I think we all know.
Mont Saint-Anne and Léger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Léger.
thought you would say Leger. Obviously, I mean, a first win on French soil and a 6th world title, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I feel like Léger is going to be historical. You know, it might not even be a French guy who would win, because there's a lot of contenders, but the event, the atmosphere, I know it's going to be like, you have to be there. Like, if you like mountain biking, you have to be there. And I feel like that's going to be something pretty incredible. So I would like to do well. So I'm excited to go there and see how it goes. But Mont Saint-Anne is just my favorite track.
Yeah, me too.
Let's go back. Yeah, it's so sick.
So cool. So there's a lot of French riders who are killing it at the moment, and I think a lot of us feel like it's only a matter of time before there's 5 of you standing up there on the men's podium. Any particular reason you think the French are so good at downhill at the moment?
I think there's different reasons, and the teams are kind of a big part of it, because obviously Commensal has like 25 teams.
Yep.
Like, they have so many teams, and all their teams. So they're not French; they're Honduran, but it's French people, you know.
Yep.
And the CEO of this brand loves racing. He does everything he can to make his bike win races, and the teams that are built with this brand are doing a good job, I think.
Yeah.
The team, we have American sponsor, but we are French, and I don't know. In France, there is this amount of teams of structures that really love racing and have been doing it for a while, and have been taking young guys and helping them, never letting them or giving them up. And at some point, like Benoit Coulange, he's been good the whole time, but never like he is right now. And it just exploded last year or the year before. But he's been on the same team, the French team, for a lot of years. And same for me, like, it's a French team, same for Amaury. Loris was with us, and we just have this management, I think, and this approach that makes us fast. Like, we work for it, and I feel like that, plus the fact that we all good friends and we all push each other like positively. That's maybe good. But I don't know, like, it's so hard to point exactly why we are so fast. Because, for example, Antoine Vidal is insanely fast, and is enduro guy. He's not. He didn't grow up with us. He didn't, have the same path than us. So I don't know how he's so fast, but yeah.
Cool.
We can't let you go without chatting a little bit about the bike. Looking around at others, proportionally, the bike looks a little smaller than what others ride. I presume you've tried a larger frame.
Yeah. I've tried, but I've never felt great on a big bike. I like to play with my bike, and I like to fully control it,
Yeah.
And I feel like when it's a little bit longer, and I just don't move around so easy, and I don't enjoy it so much. It's like 29er, I didn't enjoy it as much. And to me, I need to have that fun and feeling before I go fast.
Yeah.
And having a smaller bike makes me more happy when I ride. I don't know why.
It's the best setup bike on the circuit, isn't it? How much testing do you do to get it like that, and how much of it is kind of Jack's magic?
Yeah, it's a combination of Jacko and Holdings, because without them we would not be able to do all the things we do and all the evolutions and stuff. So it's super important to have someone like that, like a brand like that behind you to support you like week after week and deliver quickly improvements. But we do a lot of testing pretty much every time. Like over half the time I ride in the winter or after, it is testing.
Yeah.
You know, when Jacko is here and we do telemetry and we look at what's happening and we try other things. And I feel like it's also makes me know like how the bike reacts with bad stuff. And in the end, when bad stuff happen on the track, like in Lourdes, for example, and I know the bike is not set up for it, I've had that in testing too. I've had moments where the bike is not right, and it makes me able to tackle everything. You know, it's like if you would have on purpose a shit bike to make you ready in case it happens.
Yeah.
But mainly, Jacko has been my mentor. You know, setting wise, he's been incredible, and I owe him a lot in my career. But at the same time, I don't know as much as I wish I do because I let him all the keys to do the things, and he's incredible. And I feel like we are a really good duo.
100%.
Yeah. So you mentioned telemetry. So you had telemetry on your bike for a long time, probably as long as I can remember you ride. Do you think it gives you a significant advantage, or is it like more of a mental advantage over those riders that don't have access to it or just like don't want to ride it? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's an advantage. That's why we use it, but it's mainly an advantage that we've been using it for a long time. Then Jacko is just so good at analyzing the data he gets, and that's where it's funny sometimes because a lot of people are doing it now, but I know they are not analyzing the way Jacko does, so it's not as efficient and as easy for them to reach the point we are reaching. So it's a big advantage, but at the same time now everybody is doing it. Like, give me one name of the good guys who don't have it.
There isn't any. They're all using it.
Like even at training, like
I never used it, but I'm not that good.
But would you have liked to use it?
If I have someone good to work with, yes. But some of the guys in the team used it, and basically they ended up to the same conclusion as when they were riding by feeling, you know. So it gives you like, that's what I was asking about, that mental advantage, because you can be sure with data that what you're doing is right, but maybe you know what I mean.
If the guys in your team have a really good, amazing feeling, then that's a super good capacity, to be honest. Like, it's a good skill, because I don't have that time. And it's just also giving us the opportunity to develop things way quicker, because the feeling is never 100% accurate and it's never the same from one day to the other, while telemetry is always the same. And it always, like, you show that the screen to an engineer and it's going to be like, okay, I understand why you told that. But if you only have my speech after the run, like, what did that, you know, the guy will be like, and then it's swimming a bit slower, you know, and I feel like it's part of the sport now, and all the bikes, to be honest, they are pretty impressive, and I feel like I have the best bike, to be honest, so I'm pretty lucky.
Yeah, so it looks like All-ins, like you mentioned, bring a lot to the party. And how important has the partnership been to your success, and what is it really that gives them the edge?
To be honest, it's Jacko.
Okay.
We've had Fox and RockShox before, and we were having good races with them, but a lot of teams have the same things. Like, it develops a bit slow because everybody just wants different things, and then it's a little bit hard to make things move forward. And with All-ins, the good thing is that we are the only team they are listening to, and then they have one feedback and they do according to that. And Jacko knows exactly what to tell them to go straight to the point. And I feel like All-ins has been really good at trusting what we said.
Yeah.
And then we have exactly what we need. And that's where other brands like Specialized, they are so big and they have so much stuff going on that they don't necessarily listen as much, or they don't, and don't prioritize the thing. And it takes so long to do anything. And then so lucky we have Olins for that. And the guy at Olins, TJ, has been coming to the testing. He wants to see the bike. He's super involved. And I feel like this combination makes us feel also like the team a big like example kind of for other brands.
You have a really strong team also trackside. How important is their feedback, like on line choice and like also the trackside timing that we used to kick around when we see it?
Yeah, for example, why do you guys do that? Like,
I didn't do it. I didn't dare.
Greg doing it, like playing around. Amaury also playing around with the yeah, it's like fuck off. Like they're rightly mad that we were having their time, but they're just mad they didn't have information, So for sure I have good people on the side of the track. It's hard to use this information right though, because the more information, the hardest it is to make choices and be efficient and move on to the other part and stuff. So we've been struggling actually in the past with some of the process we use, and it's so good to have them, especially if you need them. But in the end, I like to do my own decisions and to compare my own lines and my own self on different things, and not look too much at other guys, even though it's good to see what they are doing. And for sure, the staff in a team makes a big difference, and our team understood that years ago. And I feel like everybody starts to put people on the side and to have more force,
I'm on the side now. All day, every day.
Moving the timing poles.
No.
So, final question, Loic. There's this rumor that at one stage earlier in your career, you were offered a spot on the Syndicate, and you wrote them a letter saying thank you, but you didn't feel you were ready. Is that true, or is that urban myth?
I remember the call with Rob Woskop actually, but no, it's true. I almost made the move to Syndicate, but I was I don't remember what year, like pretty early, maybe 15 or like early.
Yeah.
And I loved the idea because at the time there was Bryceland also, like it was such a sick lineup.
Yeah.
I was just massively honored to be like one of those possible guys,
considered for it.
Yeah, exactly. And then Rob was giving me like these super cool ideas and stuff, and I wanted to go. Like I was fully convinced and I was sold, I was like, okay, I want to go. But then I hang up and I'm like, fuck, it's so sick, I want to go. And then I look at what I have and I'm like, but I don't need to leave. I don't,
Yeah.
And I've had reasons to leave my team, and so I didn't go. I was like, sorry, it sounds so sick, and I would love. It would be such a sick privilege to do that, but I don't feel like I need to leave. I have everything I need. I have people I love. I don't want to change. Sorry. And but I would have loved to try. Maybe it would have been different. I don't know. It's funny to imagine that.
Yeah. Who knows in the future where you might end up.
Who knows?
Cool. Well, great stuff. And thanks for making the time to come on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you, and all the best for the rest of the season. I think it's going to be a strong one for you.
Hopefully, yeah. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks to the sponsors of the show: Hope Technology, JTech Suspension, Revolution Bike Park, Ride Southern Spain, Schwalbe, and SingleTrackWorld.com. As always, if you're enjoying the podcast, please subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And if you've got a sec, please drop us a review. Alternatively, please give us a follow on Instagram at Making Up the Numbers Racing or Facebook.com/Making Up the Numbers. We'll all be up in Fort William for the World Cup. I think Emmy's going to be there. Are you going to be there, Emmy?
Yes.
Definitely. Then we'll all be up in Fort William for the World Cup, and I'll be walking around with a mic, grabbing some interviews on Thursday and Friday, I think. So we should have another episode then, maybe each day, maybe afterwards. Not 100% sure yet. And there might be some Instagram lives as well, a bit like Jack did out in Leogang, inspired by Jack's Instagram lives out in Leogang last year, which race. And that might be on the @Singletrack magazine channel. So give them a follow if you get chances. They got hacked recently and lost about 50,000 followers. Right. That's it for this episode. Enjoy Fort William, everyone. We'll be back soon.